So, my first question for you, Jim, is how long have you been doing art?
Well, I've been painting since I was building plastic model cars as a kid. I'd get a small glass bottle of oil-based enamel paint, and I'd do the engine or the interior or something on the car. And then I'd look around and I'd say, I wonder what would look how this would look in this color. Like, I might have had silver or black or something like that. So I'd continue painting things until I ran out of paint. And I'd say that's when I first got started, is since I could hold a brush.
So you've been doing this for a while then?
Yes.
What kind of art do you enjoy creating the most?
Anything but a landscape, a portrait, or a still life. Other than that, the field is pretty much open.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes still lifes can get pretty boring, to be honest.
Well, with a portrait, you have to do it justice. And I'm not always that confident. In high school, we had to do something like that. And Twiggy was a model at the time, very well known for her looks. And so I painted her. But with her looks, I only needed to do half of her face, and it told the whole story. So then I didn't have to get the balance right or the left and the right, everything just perfect. It was fine.
For your pieces, how long does it typically take to finish one?
Well, I have some that come together fairly quick, and when that happens, I know that I've done it right, something's happening. But a lot of them are much more extensive, and I need to go shopping for things. I need to find the right thing, maybe go online, research what's available, get it shipped in. I've gotten things from Dollhouse Supply to you name it. And so some of them can be kind of lengthy. I've got one now that's delayed because of some broken glass that I need to find just the right piece to replace it with. But I have others that I'm working on all the time. So there might be 2, 3, 4 that I can work on while I'm waiting for other things to happen.
Could you tell me a little bit more about the artwork you brought with you today?
Well, this one is a tribute to Marcel Duchamp. Some would consider him the father of modern art. Some might not consider him the father of modern art, but he inspired me. He was quite unusual in his work, and he also, as far as I'm familiar with, he only did one window in part of his collection. And this is a tribute to Marcel Duchamp. He did a number of things like this, and it was a study of motion and depth, and he did about 5, 6, maybe 10 of them. And the window that, I'm not sure if I was inspired by it or what it was, but he did a window and entered it into a show. It was kind of a light green pastel color, and every single pane was covered with black leather. You see, Marcel Duchamp, he was 30 years old at the end of the First World War, and I think he's very affected. And I think the black out windows might have been when they were having bombing raids and they had to block out the windows, so it helped protect them. Also in this, he did nude descending a staircase. It was part of his step into Cubism. And later on, he got completely above art and didn't want to have anything to do with it anymore. And he played chess for the rest of his life. And he was so into it, it made his wife very mad, and she glued his chess pieces to his chessboard.
Well, that's one reaction.
Well, I don't know that stopped him from playing chess.
I love that one.
Thank you. It used to be part of a 4-pane window. And so it used to come down to about here. And every single pane had a piece of lace in it. So as that one was a tribute to Marcel Duchamp, this was tribute to lace. That's what I called most of them before, and because they would have a theme. And many of them now still have a theme, but I don't call it a tribute, I give them actual names. But this one, like I say, it used to be a 4-pane window. I made a trip to New Orleans, which I always come back with good vibes and creativeness from there. I saw that somebody had cut up a window, and rather than, because I used to use whole windows, and that's what was quite lengthy in getting them completed because there's so much space there. So I decided to cut some of mine down. This, like I say, this one is an existing window, and I cut, I say, this piece and this piece out of it. This piece right here was a mirrored piece, and as you can see these butterflies in here, well, this one escaped. And then over here, there was another one that escaped, and it was bigger. And on the outside edge, I'd had a lace butterfly mounted to plexiglass, and it also escaped. And as it escaped, it was getting its color back. So the color was out here, but it was fading to blank or white because it still had confinement. But I really like working with the single panes now because they do come together quicker than a big 4, 6, 8, 10 pane window. And they're much lighter too.
I bet.
But if I cut up a 6-pane window, I get 3 pieces out of it. So there's a little bit of loss, but I like it a bit more than doing the full ones. I've done a couple abstracts lately, and I like that a lot because I really like working with glass shards. I do cut some of my glass, but the shards have a life of their own that I try to find it. One of the first things I learned in art is the use of negative and positive space. And this is a good example of that, as this would be negative and these would be positive spaces. One thing I like about working with windows is I have a certain amount of depth to play with, and on the front and or on the back. If you notice this piece here is actually coming out this way, adding more depth yet. This window is actually cut into here, glued. It is one piece. Grab a little bit of copper and some wrought iron. This is called Cubismi, which is French for cubism. And although Picasso is known as maybe a father of cubism, there's also a Frenchman named, I think his last name is Barak. I'm not sure if it's George or not, but him and Picasso were the instigators, if you will, of cubism. But Picasso got all the glory and everything, so this is named after the Frenchman. This one was done before the other one, and this one I call Cubismo because it's the bigger piece, and Picasso being the Spanish, Cubismo is the Spanish for cubism, but he was the bigger figure in cubism, so I gave him the bigger window. Again, this one is glued and cut, so it fits inside the window. If you want to know exactly what things are, this would be an eyebrow, this would be an eye, a nose, and down here, lower on the body, I would say that represents a breast.
So I know so far you've mentioned quite a few artists that have inspired you. Like, who do you think gave you like the most inspiration?
I'd have to say Marcel Duchamp, because if you look at the body of his work, it's so diversified. And he had some other bigger pieces of glass, and some of it was fractured, and you just have to go and look at and study his life work, and I think then you'll see how anybody could be inspired by him. Like I say, he was known as the father of modern art. Works for me.
So the next question is, throughout the pieces you've shown us, I've noticed that you tend to use like windows for your pieces. Is there any special meaning behind that?
When I was growing up, I saw a lot of people doing things with windows I didn't much care for. And some of them were country style. It was just like a wash of maybe some flowers or a rooster or something. And I looked at that and I thought, I can do some real art in that kind of a format instead of something that looked something that I didn't want to be involved with. But windows became my canvas. Again, as I say, because of the depth that they provide, I have so much more flexibility and creativeness to work with that space that there's no reason to look at other things, canvases, so to speak. Now, I do a lot of other silly little crazy things with found objects and other little small picture frames and things, and that's fun, but for the most part, it's windows. And like I say, I used to work with a lot of big ones, and I've cut them down now, but I like more windows that have interest. Maybe it's an arch, maybe it's the diamond shape. All day long, you could shop for windows, and I haven't done that. I took a road trip one time to Cleveland and Chicago, and I came back with 13 windows.
Whew.
And it's a good thing I didn't have a passenger in the car because there was no room.
Do you have any advice for like newer beginning artists?
I would say try to get some basic instruction and do what you feel. I wouldn't listen to too many people, as you can tell I don't. I like to be different. I hear that from people all the time that they don't see anything else like my work, and I've been to a number of shows, museums and galleries, and they're right, there's not much out there like what I do. There's some one-offs that I like and some I don't, but I like having that unique niche. And if every artist could create something like that, then art would be better for it. Well, this particular Cubism piece was hanging in a gallery, and I had to go retrieve it. It was hanging in the Dancing Crane Gallery in Bradenton. They have Village of the Arts over there, just south of downtown. And unfortunately, it's been closed due to COVID for a while, but they're going to be opening up. But she did open up so I could retrieve this one. And she wants me to bring back a lot more. So I'm looking forward to a new season over there at the Dancing Crane Gallery in Bradenton. I usually show here locally at the Museum Gift Shop. I recently joined Florida Wildflower Studio up in Frostproof. So they have a couple of my pieces up there. Originally, the reason I was interested in their area up there is because I read in one of the art magazines around that they were going to do a class on windows. And they had some from this 100-year-old building that they were offering to their students. And I called Jackie up there, and I just asked her if I could help in any way, you know, to lend my 40 years of expertise to her students, just so they could get another perspective on the possibilities. And so that's how I got hooked up with them there. They have not yet held the class, but I'm looking forward to when they do.